And then wait for this one.
Okay. And then I'll wait for this one.
Oh my god. Probably on already.
Probably. I mean, you never know. I just probably shouldn't start talking shit about people.
What's any different?
This is true. I don't know.
We're gonna do it live or on paper.
Oh my god.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
I'm at least halfway dressed. I just need to put some lashes
halfway.
on.
What?
Something. I'm better than last week, I think.
This is halfway. Oh.
It's better than what you saw last week. Last week I was just sitting here with my man boobs out. And
I don't know that this is better than last week.
It's not?
I'm not sure about that, no. I don't know.
If you're questioning it, I guess.
Anyway. Oh my goodness.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week, and it's only Wednesday.
I've already worked like 30 hours, and I'm done with the week. But I am off on Friday.
Oh, well, that's good. At least
so you know what I'll be doing all day Friday.
Sleeping?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, I guess. I just invited you to watch.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You're welcome.
I'm glad I wasn't doing anything.
Oh, my. Oh, goodness. Well, here we are. All right, it is another Wednesday.
It's your Wednesday night conversation. I'm over here putting on lashes like it matters.
I get here at like 7:30, and Felicia's not even remotely done. I was like,
well,
did you forget? What was that?
That's cool. Because I had to work.
Oh, and I didn't?
You had to work, but your boss doesn't let you just stay there.
Don't put your foot down, Felicia. Oh my god. But hey, welcome to another one of your Wednesday night conversations. We are brought to you by Wigs of a Kind, The Burly Barber, and Gabe King Photography. Yes. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters, Brandon McGill, Carrie McLeemans?
I think it's something else. It's different.
McLemons?
I misspelled it.
Oh, fantastic. Alright, our Patreon supporters, Brandon, Leanne, Carrie, and Patricia. You guys will be getting thank you cards soon, I promise, as soon as Felicia sends them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start. Hi, Barbara Seville. How are you? I'm going to be stopping by The Rock on Saturday. I believe Teddy is performing, so I'm going to be swinging by there briefly to say hey.
You're going to be swinging?
Yes. I'm going to be... Well, Sassy's performing at C7 as well, so I'm going to try and do a doubleheader.
I might have to just swing with you.
Yeah, you can. You know, I can...
One person does not tend to stay out too late.
No, I'm
not talking about you. I'm talking about...
We all know I don't tend to stay out too late
But
either.
this person doesn't go out at all.
This is true, so you're welcome to come tag along with me if you want to. That's perfectly fine. So I guess I'll talk about what I did then.
Yeah.
Since you're still trying to get your shit ready here. So Spotlight was on Saturday, and I don't know about you, but I thought it actually went surprisingly well.
Oh my god, I was so happy when I left.
I'm always nervous.
Why?
Because we pull shit out of our ass last minute, and I was very nervous.
Not this time.
Roman wasn't there for dress rehearsal. Like, I was nervous. I was very nervous. And yes, this time we were still working on choreography like the day before. So, but no, I think it went well. The crowd was loving it. We had two burlesque performers who were new to Spotlight performing with us, and the crowd went ballistic. Oh my god, they loved Alan.
Yeah, they did.
They were they were going.
Who doesn't love a good bear?
He was like, it's so yeah. He was like, and what's funny is Molly's back there because she didn't get the Futurama reference. She's like, I don't know why this is funny, but
what?
I know, but
oh, maybe she's not better this week. Oh, that is. Ooh.
I told you to wear a mask, but you know, whatever. But no, the show went really well. Like I was really happy with it. And watching the videos and stuff, I'm working on getting them up. I've shared a couple of them on the Spotlight page. Or maybe just one. Have I shared more than one?
Just one.
Just one.
That I've been tagged in.
There's some on the YouTube channel. I'll have to.
Because it was amazing.
I think it went really well, and I'm always kind of sad because I don't get to kind of partake in all the backstage shenanigans with everybody.
Yeah,
I have to be. There's no way with what
you
we
have to be.
Can you imagine me trying to run back and forth and host and change and trying to? Oof, that would not be fun. That would the way that.
I wish they had enough area where we could be back there.
I know.
So
the way Sisters Twisted used to do it is they used to set up tarps behind, like outside.
Oh.
And they'd set up tarps and block that in.
But summer is coming, and I request that you do not do that.
Well, we're taking a break in June anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, they always set up that kind of thing, but yeah.
Yeah, it was very well attended.
Awesome. It was an awesome. Like, we had a packed fucking house.
Funny thing is when I was selling raffle tickets for the first part, we're waiting for people to come in, and the flash mob started. Story time later. Because I'm going to hell.
Flash mob. I don't even understand.
I even joined the flash mob because the choreography was really hard.
I can't even. I don't even. And
anyway,
none of them. Only one had rhythm. The other ones just couldn't. And then.
Yeah, and then it took them forever to realize that I had joined them.
That was really funny.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
But I noticed, like, I went to the patio for maybe like 10 minutes to sell raffle tickets.
Right.
And then I came back inside and I was like, what happened?
It filled up, like, all of a sudden, bam!
I was like, oh my god.
I know, I think I was behind, I was doing something and I came out from behind the curtain and I went...
I was like, hi?
Well, shit.
And people, like, say, hey. I'm like, hi.
It was great. And one thing I really love about our audiences is that they're so mixed. Like, we've got everyone. We've got people that have been coming since the beginning. We've got people that wander in on accident and then go, oh my god, this is amazing. And, like, we've got straight people. We've got...
Did you get requests that we do that again?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh. Okay,
oh, yeah. No, yeah. I had a couple people come up and go, when are you going to do this next? When is the next time you do this?
I was like, oh.
And
you can hire us for private parties.
Right? And I'm like, so many people came up to me afterwards and they were like, I haven't seen anything like this. And telling me that it was like some of the, like, it was just the best show they've seen in town. I was like, I was floored. And I love...
Little toot toot beep beep.
Honking our own horn. You know, we work hard. We work hard. We rehearse for 3 months. Hey, D. Like, we rehearsed for 3 months before we do this
Take it for granted. I just learned everything.
You know, I mean, we bust our asses. Kidding. So it's you know, the fact that we get that.
Can I say that I was proud of myself?
I was proud of you. You did well.
I was like, okay, showtime. Got it right. But you couldn't see me.
You could for a little bit for the greatest show. You were in there for the... You can, and we can see you in Skid Row because you're front and center for a lot of it. It's fine. You're fine. It'll be fine. Whatever. And then last night I was at BS West for the Next Big Star.
Oh, was that better?
We had 5 contestants.
Okay.
We've been
Is it
steady.
Open?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I don't understand. I thought maybe because you know they have those open auditions.
And it was kind of a little bit weird, but yeah, no, it's open. If you can, anybody can come out any week. We have, I think 3 weeks left now after this week. Something, or 4 weeks, maybe 4 weeks after this week.
Maybe I should take a Wednesday off so I can go.
Right. But it was good. We had 5 like good contestants. You know, it's great seeing some of these, and a lot of them are new entertainers, which is really cool. So it's
why was it deleted?
Because he posted it again up top. I don't know. And we've got some good entertainers coming out, which is awesome, and the fact that they're new is great, and they're people that, like, a lot of the new ones are coming out and they actually want the critiques, like they really want to know what they can do to improve what they're doing and stuff. So that's refreshing. So
that number doesn't match this number. Okay, you're fine. You're fine. What
is
nipple?
YouTube working? Are we just gonna... What's happening on YouTube?
I don't usually play the play.
Oh, I couldn't tell if it was just dead or what was going... Okay, we're good. Never mind.
Hi, Vivica. Oh, you'll be on the road? It's come up so soon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Vivica was heading toward inland. You can watch on the road.
Yeah, it goes on cell phone.
Right.
It works perfect on the cell phone now. Because now, like, this kind of, like, drops... Like, the chat drops underneath the...
Right. You can also watch on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So we have options now.
Hold on. It's getting warm in here. I need to
open your thing here. Or...
Yeah.
What did you do this weekend, Felicia?
Spotlight, and there you have it.
And that's all you did?
Yes. Because I was... Hold on.
Hang on, Felicia's turning on the air because it's warm in here, apparently.
Mister, I'm so cold. Well,
I was cold last night, okay? And my blanket's...
Well, it was cold. We turned off the air.
And I forgot
because it's warm, it's doing that weird thing, springtime. Right. As they call it here. Is doing, like, this very warm, and then it's
cold. Really cold at night. Like
I'm like, oh my god, it's cold in here.
Yeah, it was chilly last night, so... Yeah.
And we even have a heat blanket, and I was still kind of... cold. But this weekend, no, I felt wonderful about stage and screen. I feel like I can't wait for Pride because Spotlight will be at Pride.
I'm excited for Pride too. We're on the main stage, and
I just saw the announcement.
Oh, you did the march on Saturday morning.
Oh, that's right, I did.
Oh, and my partner ran the 10K.
We're just forgetting all kinds of things.
This is not new for me. We know this. No, my partner ran the 10K for the Pride Run with the Phoenix Frontrunners Saturday morning.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And her lipstick still looked on point when she was done. Which
was it lip sync?
Yeah, of course it was.
She should sponsor the
show. Did you see that they have new colors? They've got blues and purples and things. Did you order from her?
Fun fact is, I'm starting to be... You learn this about marketing. And you know when you're being ployed by another marketer that you should ease up a little bit. But I've been following her on Instagram for a couple weeks. And you know which one I'm talking about. She wore like this plum, and it's called like blue red or something. And I was like,
She's been experimenting with mixing them, so she's got
and then
for the Pride Run, she had like 7 different colors on her lips. I think.
Was that the one where she had like the bright pink at the top?
Yeah, it was like lighter, and then it was darker.
Was right there. I was like,
yeah, that was what she wore in the Pride, and it was completely like it was still perfect. Well,
let me tell you. So, at Spotlight, I was wearing lip scents, and I never touched up my lips once.
She put it on me once for something, and it makes my lips feel weird, and I'm not sure.
Well, it's supposed to break down like all the bacteria and
it's
wax.
Weird, but I think it's fantastic the fact that
that you can go all day.
Right. Yeah. Oh, hey, DJ Image, where were you last week?
Wasn't DJ Image supposed to come to our show?
He kept saying I'm available to talk, and then he just didn't show up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's okay, whatever, it's cool.
Hi, Adam.
But yeah, no, it was good. That was a long day for me. Like, we were up early after.
Well, you guys did the Pride Run.
Yeah.
And we did the march. Okay.
So there we go.
Can I talk about the march?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say, and you saw my comment on my other profile. I haven't posted it on this one because I feel like people take stuff too serious on this side of the tracks. Anyway, I marched, not that I'm not for gun control, but I'm not saying, like, take guns out of people's houses or take them out of people's arms. Because I feel
control, not a ban on guns.
I feel like people take that completely out of proportion. I feel like what needs to happen is, like, a layer of things that need to happen.
Well,
like, the people... Like, I went into, like, this deep discussion on somebody else's page because they said, please stop saying no guns. And then they said, please argue with me. And and you know me, I'm going to lay out reasons instead of, this is how I feel and blah, blah, blah. So I said, I think that people on social media need to stop posting these no guns or guns. They need to focus on, it's a multi-layered problem, and it needs a multi-divisional solution. It needs more than one solution.
Well, you regulate things like, cars and things like that.
Yeah.
And, like, nobody's saying we're going to take away all your fucking guns. What we're saying is there needs to be regulation and there needs to be something in place where there's background checks and everything. Look at the countries that have very tight gun control. Nobody's taking away their guns, but if you want a gun, you have to jump through hoops to get them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally. But, whatever. What do I know?
I don't know. I just seem... And somebody was like, well, what about... I think it was Scott's aunt. What about mental health? I own a gun, and I've owned one since I was 16. Yes, that's fine. I don't have a problem with people owning guns. I have a problem with people going to shoot up...
Right.
Family,
and
friends,
mental health is a
relatives.
problem anyway. Like, mental health care is a problem anyway. However... now that the whole thing is, well, these kids are being bullied, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's talk about bullies, shall we? You want to talk about bullies? Because if it were all about the people that were being bullied that were shooting up schools, how many gay kids would be shooting up schools?
Well, and...
how many trans kids would be shooting up schools? So
we'll talk about trans in a minute, because our orange friend decided that he wanted to step forward with that. But I just... really?
Why?
Wow. I didn't know you could just do audio. One day we should just do audio, so you don't have to worry about if I put makeup on.
You don't have to, actually have to look at us.
They've been posting all day. I wonder what they're talking about. Anyway, but I just want to say that I don't have a problem with people with guns. I don't even care if you carry them, but I want people to be more educated. I want people to be more mentally healthy. That's what I want. I want the multi-layer answer.
If you pass all the background checks, if you pass the mental health screening, if you pass the thing that says you have nothing in your background that has any sort of domestic abuse or anything like that,
but
then keep your fucking guns. I don't care. If you fail any of that, though, then you should not be allowed to have a gun. Period.
I mean, there's other things too, but I got into that discussion, and then all of a sudden, it's funny when you confront people with like the solid...
Oh, you mean like facts and reason and things.
I'm just like, this is not how I feel. This is what I think is the step process, and this is how it should be implemented. And then, here you go. And then no comment.
I've noticed, especially when it comes to right-wingers, they really don't like things like facts.
It's very odd. I'm like
you start giving them facts, and they start going...
I'm like, wait a minute. You're not arguing back.
It's because they don't have anything, so they got nothing. They got nothing.
Hi, Jeremiah.
Alrighty, shall we move on to my Just the Tip?
Oh, this is a good one.
I know, I got a good one tonight.
I have not been brave enough to do this.
Well, maybe now you will. Okay, so... my tip tonight, and I don't even know why I picked this. Like, there wasn't anything that was like, I was just trying to think of something. No, this isn't something we've talked about. So I was like, why the hell not? I just don't know why it popped into my head. So my tip for tonight is about group sex. So it's tips and things to think about. If you're ever in a position or you're going to be in a position or whatever.
A menage a trois?
A menage a trois is 3 people.
Oh, is this more than...
This could be as many people as you want.
Oh, wow.
So...
that sounds exhausting.
Group sex can be absolutely fucking awesome. No matter if it's, 3 people, 4 people...
80.
An entire room of people. It doesn't matter. It can be awesome, but you have to be smart about it, and you have to do it right, per se. There's some basic guidelines to make sure that everybody has a good time, and everybody stays safe.
You mean there's regulation?
Regulate sex. We can't fucking regulate guns. Okay. First and foremost, your biggest thing when it comes to any sort of group sex is use condoms. And that's especially important if you are in a situation where you're not with, like, your friends. Like, if it's not people that you play with regularly, or even if it is people you play with regularly. Like, if it's not people that are within your circle... you definitely want to make sure that you use condoms.
Literally.
And it just because, especially if you're going to be swapping partners and, all this stuff. And even on your toys. If you've got toys in the situation, have a condom on it.
Which we recommend Tantus toys.
I do recommend Tantus toys because they can be sterilized. You still should put a condom on it, especially in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And never use the same condom on different partners.
Say what now?
So, if you have a condom on, don't just whatever and then move along over here.
But in
change.
The
oh my god! Fuck. Don't do what the pornos do, kids. You know, take it off, pop another one on. You know, have a supply handy. You can get free condoms.
So much
Everybody always laughs at me because I always have like I always end up with a bag of like free condoms whenever I'm at Pride or whatever.
Why not?
Exactly. I don't. You never know when you're gonna need one. Sometimes it's handy to have it on a toy.
Sometimes they hand out the good lube at Pride too.
Right. So you know, just make sure that you have condoms handy. You know, if you only have one.
And like 10 people are in the room.
Right, maybe somebody else has one you can borrow, but don't go sharing condoms with different partners because that's how you spread things and that's how people catch STIs and that's not good. If you are partnered, if you are there with a significant other or whatever it is, and again, this is whether it's a threesome, whether it's a foursome, whether it's more, you need to talk about ahead of time what is and what is not okay. You guys have to be on the same page. Depending on the couple and depending on the situation, some people may say that, you know, you can go ahead and fuck somebody, but you can't kiss them.
Oh my god.
Because kissing is more intimate. And sometimes they want to make sure that there's a distinct line between, okay, we're doing this, it's about sex, it's about fucking, it's not about, you know, that kind of intimacy. So you can go ahead and
recommended for the emotionally heavy.
Like you can put your mouth on whatever the hell you want. Just don't kiss anybody on the lips. Another thing, especially with, this could be something for some trans couples, is types of penetration.
Yeah.
You know, are you, as a trans man, if you, you know, with your partner or whatever, are you, you know, is everybody okay with vaginal penetration? Or is that off the table because of intimacy issues and it'll be only... you know, anal play and anal penetration. That's something that needs to be discussed. Can
I put a suggestion in there? If you're doing group stuff, be clean.
Like hygiene.
Yeah, like...
Hygiene is important. Unless it's one of those things, sometimes the leather...
No, I'm not talking about man smell or woman smell. I'm talking about...
Clean is not a good term to use.
No, I mean like... Make sure your areas is not ewy.
Yeah, that's you take care of your shit, obviously.
Because there are some... I mean, if I had that problem one-on-one once upon a time...
Yeah, now just make sure your stuff is...
Because some people be thinking, oh, this is fine. And you're like...
Yeah, just make sure
Did you look at that?
Did you... Make sure everything's good down there.
You knew what was happening in this?
Yeah,
especially if you come home from Pride and you think that you're being frisky. I would let people jump in the shower.
I'd be like, hey, shower. How about you jump in the shower with me? I'll jump in the shower with you.
I'm like, oh, hey.
Another one is don't assume that everyone is okay with everything. And that's, you know...
How do you have this conversation with people?
Well, okay. Well, in a group situation, you always ask, and that's the big thing. So you don't just necessarily jump in and do whatever, unless it's one of those things where you are familiar with the person and you know what they are okay with, or you know what it is, or you know if it's been talked about. But otherwise, if you go to touch somebody, always ask, and that can be, you know, anything from, you know, hey, can I kiss you? Can I touch you here? Can I whatever it is? And if they say no,
did I win?
Like if they say, you know, if you say, oh, can I kiss you? And they say, that's, you know, that's not part of it. Then you say, okay, what would you like? You don't pitch a fit. You don't get angry. You don't have a conniption fit. It's all about consent and it's all about boundaries. And you have to respect those boundaries. If someone says, don't, you know, we're not good there. Like, don't, then you move along and you find something that they're okay with. Right. So you have to be willing to listen and you have to be willing to communicate with everybody there, which may seem like a lot, but it's really not. Like, how hard is it when you're in a situation like that to be like, can I touch you here? It's
Does it kill
not
the
that
mood?
hard.
Do people think
You
that it
know,
kills
it
the
really
mood?
doesn't. It really doesn't.
I prefer that people ask.
It you know it really doesn't kill the mood. Like you'd think that maybe it would, but it really doesn't, because consent is sexy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, you don't want something forced on you,
right? And if you're getting into it or whatever, and you may be all hot and heavy, and sometimes it's the awesome people are the ones that actually ask before they just assume that, oh, just because you're getting hot and heavy, I can do whatever the hell. That's not how that works. So you just you always
need to go back in time and
always ask.
Oh, I was like, why are you fanning my crotch? I cleaned myself. Thank you.
Another big thing is to get tested before and after. Always. Oh. I mean, that's one thing. Always get tested. Always know your status. Whether we're talking about HIV, whether we're talking about other STIs, always know your status. Some things are obviously more communicable than others. Some things, clear up with a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Some things are, passed along very easily. And you really have to know what's going on before you put yourself and other people potentially at risk for something. And after, because the fact of the fact is we can say get tested. Not everybody does, and a lot of people just assume that they're fine no matter what, and that's not always the case.
Do free?
There's always you can go down to Southwest Center and get tested.
That's what I thought. There's a lot of communities you can get tested for free.
Right, there's a lot of places to be able to get tested for free. But and one after the fact, you want to make sure you get tested as well, because in case someone didn't get tested and has an STI, didn't disclose, doesn't know, or doesn't even know maybe, you want to make sure that you get tested so that if there's any sort of an issue, you can take care of it. And obviously in a situation like that, it's kind of hard to track it back, you know what I mean, to let somebody know. But
all of us are getting tested together.
But that's kind of one of those things, if something happens like that, then you can kind of put out an APB and be like, hey, just so you know, after this, I tested and I got, I tested positive for chlamydia, so just FYI, everybody might want to, get checked or whatever it is. Just be smart about it, know your status. It's the right thing to do. Another thing is to know what kind of situation you're going into. So if it's like a threesome where you're bringing somebody back to the house, if you're the person that's being brought back to the house, know what you're getting into. Is it just going to be you and one other person and someone's going to be watching? Is it going to be you and both of them? Is it, whatever it is. Is it going to be, is it a more intimate sort of setting with maybe just a handful of people? Is it a big, like, swinger party where you've got rooms full of people? Rooms full of people. Like,
a flex at your house?
It happens. There are houses that they're set up for things like swinger parties where you've got multiple rooms and different things happening in different rooms.
I watched the documentary.
So there's,
Netflix is amazing.
Netflix is amazing. There's clubs, there's all sorts of things. So you need to know what you're getting into.
If anybody
so that you're
lives
not
in the UK, can I have your Netflix UK subscription, please? Because I want to be able to see that. I know how to block location.
That's funny. And with like some of the larger ones, even with some of the smaller ones, will people be watching? Like, are people allowed to be voyeuristic?
Like this?
Like watching.
Oh.
Like watching. Are you okay with being watched? Are you okay with being an exhibitionist? Is it a sort of a kink focused type of thing? And are you okay with that? These are things that you need to know before you get there, before you get into the situation.
One more. Make sure you know the people that you're doing this with. Because I say that because in multiple communities, including here, people have been hurt because they thought that they were getting into something really... And I will say that some of the criminals are pretty good looking, but you got to be careful. Like, make sure if that little birdie in the back of your head goes, I don't think this is right.
In the swinger community, they have really good ways of kind of weeding that kind of thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 times out of 10, when it comes to swingers parties, you have to pay to get in.
Oh,
and it's usually like couples are say $30 or $40.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a single guy, it's usually $100 or more.
What?
And that's kind of how they make sure that.
But how does a couple that is bringing somebody into their home?
Right, obviously that's going to be a little bit different. Right.
Because that means say you're a prostitute.
Right. I mean, I would say obviously if you're in that situation, if it's somebody that you're just meeting or somebody that you're just getting to know, get to know them outside of it first. Go and go have a drink, go.
But what about those people? And this is not me, because I'm sure that you all know I'm prude as hell. It has been mentioned, so to speak, but we move on. But those people that do it like on the whim, or like couples that are on like Grindr.
That honestly, for that, pay attention to your gut. Like if you
doesn't that hold like a risk for some people?
It is. It's a risk anytime, especially if it's sight unseen like Grindr or whatever it is.
Or it may not be what you're seeing.
Use your gut. Listen to it. If you start getting a weird vibe from the conversation, or if you kind of show up at a house or whatever it is, and you're getting a little bit of a kind of vibe, leave. Leave. That's just how that you don't put yourself in a situation where you don't feel comfortable, and if you're not comfortable, you have. Another thing is if you're in a situation, regardless of, again, whether it's your house, whether it's a party, whatever it is, do not take pictures or do not take video unless every single person is okay with it. Because...
make sure you don't have jobs that could be at risk if they got shit.
And that's exactly it. There are jobs at stake. Things get put online.
Mm-hmm.
Things...
And not just famous people are under.
And not everybody wants to know that. They don't want people to know that they do this on the weekend. They don't want people to know that they are.
Though I am getting tired of the politicians that say, "Oh, I'm so anti-gay," and 2 got caught this week.
I'm like, whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, if they say, "Oh, anti-gay," I'm just assuming that they're gonna get caught with somebody. But that's a big one. Under no circumstances should you be recording anybody unless everybody is on board. This is a pretty big one too. Don't get wasted. Again, doesn't matter where you're at. First of all, being a sloppy drunk, it's not hot. It's not. And
I'm sitting right here.
Second,
Is this an intervention?
No. It's if you are inebriated, especially if you're really, really drunk, the chances of you doing something that you don't want to do increase. Because your inhibitions are down, you might not necessarily remember what you're doing. Don't do it. It's not a good idea. In fact, a lot of parties and different things, whether it's kink, whether it's leather, whether it's swinger, whatever it is, a lot of them actually have rules that you cannot get drunk. You can have a couple of drinks, but if you get wasted, they're gonna call you an Uber and you're gonna leave. Because they're not about that. They don't want you there. And don't do anything you don't want to do. Don't let anybody talk you into something that you don't want to do. Don't say yes just because you feel like you should. Don't do anything you don't want to do. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't do it. If you don't, if you are, new to either the group thing or whatever, and, maybe you just want to watch without joining in. See if that's okay. See if because a lot of times people are fine with that. You're just there. You're, whatever. Definitely don't do anything that you don't want to do, and that's the big one. So there you go. There's some tips in terms of regarding group sex and how to make it fun and safe for everybody involved.
Everybody.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna read those, but I feel kind of scared. I want to read the article after, and it's but it's from the Sun, so I don't know how much of it is true. But it says, chicken survived for 9 days after losing its head, scratches in the dirt that it's going after Mike, the headless chicken's record of 18 months.
Oh my god, that's so... I don't think that's...
That's not real.
No. Nice try, though.
I was like, ew, what? Something about U-turns. I was looking for ones that...
Right. Brooklyn says a lot of places have, like, a 2-drink maximum.
Oh.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
That's... You know, depending on the places, some of it are... You know, a lot of things are BYOB, but again, if you're
Don't
wasted...
drink the whole bottle.
Right. If you're wasted, they will remove you because nobody wants to deal with that.
Oh my god, I have to find out what this is. It's a Florida one. I was looking for a Florida one. It says, I think you flooded the engine.
Oh god.
But it doesn't look like a road.
Not supposed to drive into a pool. Honda Civic rolled into a Florida pool. Local police said the driver of the car didn't get it into park before getting out, and it rolled into a nearby pool with 2 passengers inside.
Thank you, Florida, for making me laugh.
Always fucking Florida. Between Florida and Texas, man, I tell you what.
I will tell you, both places have wonderful drag, but they don't have thinking people.
We want to chat about current events?
Yes.
Okay, so, Arizona was at nationals all over the place.
We were on... Well, we were all on the East Coast, yes?
Yeah.
All over that.
We had, Arizona was, we had people at USofA, MI Classic, and Diva in Dayton, over the last week. Pretty much everybody, I think, made top 12. Taylor Renee, Dustin Riot, and Luke Adaraz all made top 5.
Do you know who was crowned for each one of those?
Ken D'Artagnan was USofA MI Classic. D'Angelo was USofA MI. And Ruby Scott was USofA Diva.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody did awesome. That was...
I'm going to need to borrow some suits.
Right.
That's what
like Arizona did pretty well, and then Patricia Mason was at AAG at large.
Yes, Patricia.
Florida, right?
Yes, Daytona Beach, Florida.
That's funny. One was in Daytona.
I
was in Daytona Beach.
So like the whole weekend I'm following, and I had to like look.
Right, because we have Daytona and Daytona Beach,
and I'm like, oh god, which one is which? And like your brain is
right.
Like, it's the women.
And Patricia Mason finished in the top 10 as well.
Yes,
which I'm
her first
super
time.
excited about.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic. I think that
she better go back to that.
I was looking at her pictures and I thought she did amazing.
Yes.
I thought she looked fantastic, and I am super proud of her. I think this is a good place for her.
Yes.
I was super proud of Trey, who is my drag kid, and went to USofA MI Nationals for the very first time. In fact, his very first national competition ever, and made it in the top 10 by taking a lot of risks.
The screens was... I got asked a lot of times, was that in there? And I was like, oh yeah, it's there in that club. I want to perform at that club.
Yeah, he took a lot of risks. He went in knowing full well that there were some things that weren't going to go over well with the judges. And he said, that's okay. I'm going to do it anyway because that's who I am. And I said, you go ahead and do it. And even
I'm glad that it came to fruition.
Even with taking risks, he still plays top 10, and I'm super proud of him for that. So that's awesome.
I'm going to need his
just as a side note here.
Ooh, you always do that when you're about to get shady. What?
Shady. I'm just... Okay, so with everything that happened with Phoenix Pride that we talked about last week, right? With the poor judgment regarding a certain talent number, I'm a little disappointed that there's been nothing from either Phoenix Pride or said title holder regarding it. I was actually expecting either some sort of acknowledgement from the title holder or an apology publicly that said, hey, I understand that there were people who were at the pageant who were upset by this, who had to remove their children, and a simple apology publicly to acknowledge the fact that it was a piss poor judgment. 'Nothing. 'Nothing from Pride on, guidelines that are going to be changed in the future or anything like that. Nothing. Dead silence. I'm a little disappointed. Not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed. I expected more and I expected better. And yeah. Yeah.
Playing devil's advocate. Why do you think and take yourself out of the space. I tell people this all the time. Take yourself out of the space. And why wouldn't they have responded? What would be the reason, or why would people? I mean, would they think that it would just fade and it's fine?
I'm sure that's what they're thinking, is that it's just going to go away and people are going to forget, and maybe people have, but there are the people who had to remove their kids. Mm-hmm. The chances of them going back to a pride pageant, even going to a pride event, and the fact that the current title holder...
That's the proper spelling of her name.
And the fact that there's been nothing from anybody in regards to what happened. And, like, because I know if it were me, personally, if I had done something like that and I knew that had happened afterwards, I would have been like, look, I am deeply sorry. There was no offense meant to anybody. The fact that, it was an all-ages event, people had to remove their children because of the content of my talent, I apologize. It was a poor judgment on my part. That would have been me. And I've seen other title holders do things like that when things like that have happened.
So if this person had just said, I'm sorry if I offended anyone with my talent, period.
Even that would have been better than nothing. Because at least acknowledge it. And not, like, recognize that...
So part of me is being... not saying I agree. Not saying I agree. I don't. Both of the said people, especially the one in charge, are very of the old school.
I know.
Leave it and let it be. That kind of...
I know.
So, could that be a factor of their...
It could be.
It's happened, let's move on, It could be, but again, I think that they have to recognize that there are people that... And we don't know that just because it hasn't been made public, maybe they've been doing some things behind the scenes.
That's true.
I don't know this for a fact. I'm just thinking...
I can guarantee you that they haven't reached out to every single person that was at that pageant and said, hey, I'm sorry that this happened.
There's no way that they could.
Exactly. So... honestly, there needs to be something, and I'm more than a little disappointed that there hasn't been. Just because of, I know that things have happened before with different pageants and things like that, and people have done things that have been offensive and whatever. Mm-hmm. I think 9 times out of 10, I see people own their shit and apologize for it. And be like, look, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal, and I fucked up.
Hi, Joan. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Marissa.
So that's just me. I guess I expected better. Or more. Both. But then, like my partner tells me, I hold people to the same standard as I hold myself, and that might be the problem. Because I expect too much from people. Yeah. Okay.
So Marissa says she's not sure what happened at the Pride pageant, but her friends don't bring their kids to Pride, even though there's a kids zone. They don't feel it's appropriate to bring their kids there. There's things they don't want their little ones to see. Yes, right. And I can agree with that. Yeah. There's some things that I don't want to see.
And that's, there's the meme that's going around where you have, like, the, this is Pride, and then you have, like, the original... Pride with the marchers, and you have This Is Not with the boys, like, grinding on each other. Uh-huh. And I'm like, okay. And the people are like, oh, but this is too, they fixed it or whatever. And I'm like, well, here's the thing, is that Pride is supposed to be family friendly. And while I have no issue with, like, sex and nudity and things like that, there's a time and a place for everything. And when I'm, if I want to bring my kids to Pride, because if we have her, she's gonna come on Sunday to be able to see us perform.
Oh my god.
And
I almost choked. I need to tell Shelby and Emmy.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, God, how inappropriate is it going to be if she's there and you have these guys that are in thongs grinding on each other and basically dry humping all over the place? I'm like, it ceases to be, if you want to have like a big old party, that's fine, but Pride is supposed to be family friendly, and it's going more and more away from that. Like, yes, there's an adult area where they have like kink demonstrations and things like that, and they have burlesque performers and stuff over there, which is fantastic. But the problem is that it doesn't all stay there. Like, it comes out, and when you have
so how because I always get asked that. My thing is, especially, excuse me, let me sip on something.
You're choking. Stop choking.
My thing is, how do we make it more family friendly, and how do you do it without pissing off the whole community? Because now we've completely walk around Pride, and like some of the booths have like the porn stars adult film stars that are like by the underwear or
right.
Like,
well, okay, so I don't think it would be unreasonable to say things like breasts and buttocks must be covered.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's
sometimes they are covered and you can still see them.
I'm saying not just like pasties on a nipple or whatever it is, but you know what I mean? Like, actually covered. Cover your ass, cover your fucking tits. If you're wearing something that you wouldn't want your niece or nephew to see you in,
well, let's see, my niece and nephews,
like
my nephew was just born, so he wouldn't have any recollection.
So like I wouldn't want my partner's kid to see me walking around in a jockstrap, like. That's not appropriate. Like,
slash that off the list because that's what I was gonna do.
Right, that's me too. But I'm like, it's not appropriate. Mm-hmm. And if people are really all that, like, you really gonna go and get naked?
My
like,
question
that's
is,
why
don't I see that stuff during the regular year?
You see it at bars. They have things. You do things like Barracuda. There's different.
On a regular basis.
Because
if you have that much pride,
but here's the thing: is that you do because.
Joan says the problem is that you have values. Not everyone has that, or not everyone cares.
The problem is that you do see that every bar has fucking underwear night.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, there's any you can always you can go hang out anywhere and
that's
whatever.
A place.
Right? No, this is. Pride has turned into basically an excuse to just go around almost practically naked and dry hump people while drinking outside. Like, that's kind of what that's turned into, and it's really unfortunate because...
Oh, I will say that I know we're not even close to Pride, and maybe next week will be like our Pride show, but but I think that your alcohol consumption should be very responsible or moderate because I don't know how many times you can't even count on your hands.
Oh God!
The people that faint and are dehydrated
because
they're not drinking
fucking water. They just drink beer all fucking day. They drink beer
in the hot sun.
Stupid, so stupid. Like,
it's not like being by the pool or anything like that. It's you're walking or so.
But it's okay because they're naked.
But it's this weird science. When I was a runner. Our coaches told us never to take off our shirts because you know what you do? You sweat more and you lose the water.
Right.
You're not moisturizing. Your body's not able to hold on to any of that because what happens if you take off your shirt? What happens to the water?
It just
goes away. So these people, A, need to be more proper at Pride, and B, think about their health because the human body doesn't work the way you want it to. It works the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So, yes, I think that Pride maybe should back to the point, say something, even if it's, you may, and I hate to say this because I'm this person, but it may happen after they're done with Pride. Because I'm that person. I'm the person that's running around with their head cut off. And then I'm like, oh, email. Here you go. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And then on its way.
I don't know. It could be. I don't know. But, yeah.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Laura.
Yeah, it's always, and when it comes to, like, Pride itself, like, it's always a, slippery slope. It's like, okay, well, I'm performing. I really wanted to be able to watch, but...
In all reality, she could see that any day of the week. I sit at the bus stop and wonder.
Yeah, I know, but
you get on the light rail and you wonder. Especially after 9 o'clock, you go, oh, you can wear that?
But that's just me, whatever. I try to remember that, Pride is supposed to be family friendly and that it's open to everybody.
Hi, Fran.
And, whatever. Anywho.
So I typed something up real quick. How do you feel about it? Do you have any feelings? Okay, so...
I saw a meme that was really funny. Okay.
You'll have to send it to me, because I haven't been online. So, Agent Orange decided that we really need this trans ban in the armed services, all the military, because... Obviously, he cares about who's serving his country. I'm not sure why. I read a nice little article about why he's concerned about it, but it really still doesn't make sense to me. I think it's more because he's confused about the insurance and the rights of those that... and if he was in charge of... If we had a huge bill that was going to Congress about the bathrooms, I feel like he would be the one to sit down with his orange face and sign something that says, no, this is not allowed.
He has no idea what
so
he's doing.
I believe that he's working off his elder fears of not knowing what trans individuals are, and somebody keeps whispering this in his ear, and the word is strong right now that money is the key to keep politicians going. So, NRA... things like that. But I bet you if Toys R Us was sponsoring politicians, it wouldn't be going bankrupt right now.
Oh, my God.
But how do you feel about the trans ban?
Well, okay, so...
Because we talked about this before, but it's heading toward the real...
Right. So the meme I saw today was basically, okay, so somebody said something like, it has to do with, somebody was like, okay, well, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any difference. Who cares, right? And the person replied and was like, well, it has to do with being able to trust the person next to you. So the person underneath it commented, and it was like a conversation. It was like, Bob, we're going to go into battle. I don't know if I can trust you. You're going to have to show me your penis, Bob. It's the only way. It's the only way I'm going to be able to trust you. You have to show me your penis, Bob. You have to.
Oh, my God.
Like, do you understand how fucking ridiculous this is?
Why is there such a fear behind... Okay, so... I don't understand this. And I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why there's so much fear behind homophobia, behind well, there's not so much homophobia behind lesbians, but because guys think that's hot. I don't know why women don't think two guys kissing is hot.
Some of them do.
Oh, I need to find those women.
I know a lot of lesbians that watch gay porn.
I mean, wow. But I don't understand why it's so important. Still to this day, we're still trying to build a wall that doesn't really matter, because if you look at history, a wall doesn't keep people away from you. History repeats itself. You're welcome. This has happened like 4 empires all over the world. We built walls to keep enemies out, but then they have planes.
Right, it's not fucking stupid. I don't know. I think that what it boils down to is, number one, it's ignorance and an unwillingness to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, for some reason, people, the community at large seems to have gotten into their head that
you mean
trans women, and just in general, trans women are evil pedophiles that will go into bathrooms and molest your children.
But it's the huge,
which is
evil white men,
right? But we ignore that. We ignore the fact that priests, that teachers, that all of these other people have done far more in terms of harming children than trans people ever have. Ever.
And can I say that if I read another headline that reads that a man is scared of a trans woman because of what's in her pants, I'm going to scream, because most of the time that's disclosed. And why weren't you listening?
It's a bullshit excuse. It's one of these. It's a defense that actually gets used in court, where it's the.
But why is it still valid?
It's the gay panic, basically, is what it is.
But what's the phobia behind that? I don't understand.
Here's the thing. Honestly, it's an internalized homophobia, and when men come across a trans woman, and if she hasn't had surgery, oh my god, she still has a penis. I must be gay.
But a trans woman is a woman.
But the problem is that most of the population doesn't see that. They see a man in a dress no matter what. Look at fucking Caitlyn Jenner. Okay. I can't stand Caitlyn Jenner at all. However, she's had everything done because she could afford to have everything done.
All at one time.
All at one time. She had everything done. People still call her a man in a dress. People still call her Bruce. People, you know what I mean?
Or they say, "Do you remember Bruce?" And I'm like,
ah! Right. So it's unless, and the thing is that most of the time it's cisgender white males that have this problem. Everybody else, for the most part, is willing to be like, well, but. And even if they don't understand, most people were like, well, I don't really get it, but whatever.
I want to say most of the headlines are cis white males.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly it. The cis white men are... And the problem is this is also true within the gay community. It's the cis white men that generally cause all these problems. And that's not to say that, cisgender... Black men or Hispanic men or whatever don't also have this issue, but the majority of these things, if you look at all the shit that's coming out of Washington, they're all cisgender white men.
Can the gay men stop saying, "Why doesn't the T sit down"? What else did I read the other day?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I read something else and I thought, because you know me, I will say something, but then I thought, is this person of value of my time?
Right. Here's the thing with the T and the LGBTQ.
Carrie says the news cycle creates the phobia to distract the masses from more important issues.
Well, yeah.
It's effing sad. It's fucking sad. Trans men and women have been using restrooms and interacting with the world without incident since the beginning.
I'm gonna walk into a men's room and everybody's gonna look at me and know that I don't have all the bits and pieces.
I dare somebody.
You want to check my pants? Come on.
And while I'm in drag, to come after me. Well, even as when I'm out of drag, I go to the bathroom.
Hi, Corey.
Yeah,
here's the thing. Okay, when it comes to people saying that the T need to sit down and la la la. Okay, so the T is a little bit not necessarily out of place, but it doesn't always fit with the L, G,
but
and B. Sort of. Because the L, G, and B all have to do with sexuality.
Okay.
The T is more to do with gender. However, here's the thing to remember, is before I transitioned, I identified as a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the trans women that I know, before they transitioned, identified as a gay man.
Mm.
I'm also pansexual.
Mm-hmm.
That means I like girls and boys and everybody in between. There are trans men and trans women who identify as gay men or lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
When you take the T out
and then put the P?
Well, here's the thing. So, if you take that T out, you're taking my identity as a trans man out. But if I were a trans man who identified as gay, am I still allowed in your club or not because you just took the T out? Do you see where this is? Okay, it becomes a very, very sticky situation. Not, like I said, most of us identified as either a gay man or a lesbian before we transitioned. Most. Not all, but most.
Could this be...
And...
Just a quick question. Could this be where... mainstream, I don't want to say straight, because there's more than one issue here, because gay men obviously don't get it. Is there... I don't know, like, is there a way to, like, simplify this so that, I mean, you have
It doesn't need to be simplified. People just need to get the fuck over it, honestly.
Hey,
and
I'm
here's
over
the...
it.
Because it's like, okay, like I said, so, do you
take the T out and let that be? Because...
But again, then what do you do with the trans women who are lesbians or the trans men who are gay? Do they still get to be a part of the cool kids or not, because you've just taken away a part of that? Like, you know, and because most of us started within the L, G, and B before we became the T, are you just gonna ignore that? Like, you're just gonna kick us out of the club now because we don't fit into your box? It's literally, like, and it doesn't make any sense. It's
well,
the
again,
T
I
is
go
there.
back to the things that need to be rethought and have multiple layers of a solution.
The T is there because the T has always been there. Know your history. Know your fucking history.
Intersectionality needs to be understood. I think that people need to be educated.
They do, but here's the... Okay.
So I think that, and I know that you guys thought it was really weird that I explained STDs to kindergartners. But you don't tell them the nitty-gritty. You don't tell them, because that's weird and nasty. But you tell them that you can get diseases by, people being together. But I think at that age, your mind is starting to put pieces together.
Oh, yeah.
You see mommy and daddy together. You see daddy and daddy together. You go, okay. You see mommy and mommy together. Or mommy changes to daddy. If Laura's still watching, that's your next book. Mommy changes to daddy. But I think that at a young age, we need to get to the point in our society where the old is starting to die off.
We're getting there.
I mean, there are so many people in our community that I don't want to lose. I'm talking about, like, the people that influence this hatred upon not knowing what's next. I haven't really experienced the hatred that comes with not knowing what's next. I'm more of the, how does that work? I mean, I wouldn't have started something like this if I didn't want to hear it every week about what we're going to learn about just the tip. I mean, and look at me, I'm suggesting things because I'm on the internet going, okay. I mean, but why do people hold that in and create this, I want to say, it's putrefied hatred inside their body? Some people don't want to be educated.
And what they do is, they would just rather stick with, what they know and then just be done with it.
That's how you get stuck.
Correct. And, I mean, on the other hand, okay, so basically anytime I'm having a conversation with anybody, I'm educating them in one way or another. Mm-hmm. Whether it's them interacting with me knowing that I'm trans, whatever it is, like at bingo, like I'm wondering how many people at Cat Bingo have picked up. I know, Sue follows obviously, so Sue and Jim obviously are on board. Mm-hmm. But I wonder how many people at Cat Bingo realize I'm not a real boy. You know what I mean? Oh. So it's like, it's one of these things where...
But do you bring that up?
No, because it's not always necessary.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it's not a trans person or a gay person or anybody, it's not our responsibility to be a walking Google. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be your walking Wikipedia. There are ways to, yes, the internet still has some weird, sketchy shit on it, but for the most part,
don't ask Scott for fashion advice. He hates that.
Oh, God. But for the most part, you can get decent information online. And
just make sure it's from trusted sources.
I mean, all
you
you have
can
to
tell
do
when
is
stuff
Google
is
a couple things,
truth.
and you can find articles on everything from, you know, dating a trans man, dating a whatever it is, you know, like.
Sorry, we forgot about
YouTube.
YouTube.
My bad.
Eddie says Pride is not a circuit party.
There is like a 21 and over section. That's the adult section. There's like a whole adult area, but.
And I stay for the spanking session.
But they don't, like, as far as the weird, you know, everything walking around in thongs and shit, that nobody says anything about it outside of that. So there's, you know, like.
I think it is alcohol. I had a friend that, A, they drink energy drinks when they get there.
Ugh.
B, had beer. I had lost track of how many she had. And then next time I turned around, she was being taken away in an ambulance.
Yeah.
And I was the horrible friend that stayed for the concert. She wasn't that good of a friend. I haven't talked to her that much since. Nice. I mean, if it was you, I would be like, well, obviously you know better, so it wouldn't be you.
If I pass out at Pride, it's because there's a legitimate problem, not because I got stupid wasted.
But I have seen a lot of people passing out.
I mean, GHB is an issue. GHB is Rohypnol.
Mm-hmm.
And people will take it themselves to kind of get that buzz, but people also slip into other people's drinks, so.
And be careful with ecstasy, too, because that's sensitive to sun, and it's sensitive.
Any drug, any fucking drug, whether it's ecstasy, whether it's GHB,
I just wish
whether
y'all
it's
would just
coke,
be careful.
whether it's just be fucking smart, guys. Like, come on, seriously, like. This community is so centered around drugs and alcohol that it blows my damn mind. It really does, and I wish that you know, I wish that it were different, but it really isn't.
Well,
and that's something that needs to be talked about.
I said this the other day, and I think and it came out of my mouth, and I surprised myself.
Oh.
So I think, as much as the LGBTQRSTUV community doesn't want to think that it's not part of the mainstream and we're completely different, the mainstream bleeds into our...
Of course it does.
Our thoughts, and those that are free-thinking among us often get criticized the same way they would in the mainstream society.
Absolutely. No, that's
I should write
totally
a thesis about that.
God.
I'm good at writing.
Anyway, we're over.
Thoughts. Oh, are we done?
We are.
But you haven't told me what you thought about the trans ban.
I think it's fucking stupid. There's nothing. There's no reason for it. There is no research to show that a dude with a vagina can't shoot a gun any worse than, you know, I think it's just dumb.
And,
I think that it's...
And not to be so cruel, but a lady at work said, if he's trying to get rid of them, why wouldn't he send them to war? And I was like, I just turned to walk the other way, but I was kind of thinking, well, she's kind of right.
Yeah. That would be too obvious. That would be too obvious. What he's going to do, he's going to create camps for us to keep us safe.
But I was also thinking that our prisons are so full, why haven't we trained anybody to... I mean, you got the lifers. If they try to run away, you shoot them. They're done.
Right.
They live their life.
Stupid.
What's up next for us? We need to delete this.
Oh, yeah, that's not done. So Spotlight is happening on April 8th. That's Sunday. We are going to be on the main stage at 2 p.m.
And the announcement came out today.
I know, and I'm really excited. We're going to have, we've got almost an hour.
To ourselves?
To ourselves. I know. Shell was like, because she thought we were only gonna do like a couple of numbers. I was like, no, it's like a full set.
Like a full show?
Right. I think we have about 45-ish minutes or so of music. 55 minutes total with talking and stuff. So we have a lot of numbers that we're doing at Pride, so we're excited about it. So make sure that you come out and see us Sunday, 2 p.m. at the main stage. Bring water because it's going to be warm.
We're not doing canned heat, are
Oh, we could.
I'll just be the lost exercise.
You've got... What do you have going on?
Speed dating on April 14th at the Cash, and I believe that starts at 7 or 8. Last time we said 7, but it started at 8.
Gay time.
Because everybody showed up around 8.
Of course they did.
We have bingo every Thursday at the Cash.
And we've been getting a good crowd. Exactly at 9 p.m.-ish.
Yeah. I have one lash on at that time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, we've been getting a great crowd for bingo. I think it's picking
They're
up
starting
speed
to circle all the way around.
I know, it's awesome. We're gonna have to start moving our chairs back again because everybody's behind now. No, it's great. Definitely come out for that because that's always fun. It's free to play, and you know, we've got cat bingo happening in April.
What date was that?
April 20th is when we're doing it next. So make sure that
you have to reserve your seat for this.
Yes, go get your tickets early and then come out for it because it's always a good time. It's always fun, and there's all sorts of cool prizes. There's like cat themed things. There's
and
Betsy
we may
Johnson
or may
purses.
not drink there.
There's a liquor store 2 doors down. I don't drink because I have to drive, but Felicia does drink.
And you can buy me a drink too. I'm not shy about that.
Oh my god.
Upcoming guest. I haven't had a chance to update the show sheet.
We've got Ruby Moore happening. We've got Coco St. James, Savannah Stevens, and Paul Castle, who's an artist in his own right, and the boyfriend of the shirtless violinist.
Yes, and if you're not subscribed to the Shirtless Violinist YouTube page, you should be because they did the cutest Q&A between the two of them. So it was... I was like, oh, they're so cute. Relationship goals.
Oh, my God. All right.
We want to thank our sponsors, Gabe King Photography. You can schedule your shoot with him by going to GabeKingPhotography.com. We want to thank... I'm not wearing a wig tonight, but I did wear one over the weekend. And if you watch The Greatest Showman for... this on the Spotlight page, Carmela Tart is wearing the pink wig. We also want to thank the Burley Barber in Tempe. I haven't given away the haircut. If you want the haircut, tell me.
Right. If there's somebody out there that hasn't
been asking somebody.
If there's someone that hasn't been to the Burley Barber, and wants to get their haircut, talk to us. We'll hook you up with a free haircut. Mm-hmm. Got to be a new customer though.
Mm-hmm. Special thanks to Brandon, Leanne, Carrie, and Patricia for supporting us on Patreon.
We'll get your thank you cards out as soon as Felicia finishes them.
They're written with your name on them.
Yeah.
Done. It'll just have a heart. Love, Freddy.
About right.
If you want to support us, you can look us up on Patreon or send us a message. We take cash too.
I'm good with cash. EBT.
Grocery shopping,
right.
We could eat while we're... I mean, somebody has mentioned that we should just have a whole show where we're just eating. I mean, we could just say, this money was donated by blah, 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 and eat the rest of the show.
I think I'd be good with that.
I'm ready.
Right? I'm ready with that.
Be sure to like this episode, subscribe, and share it with all your friends and enemies and Trump supporters. Follow us here on Facebook. Well, you may not be watching on Facebook. You may be watching on YouTube. Twitter, Instagram. Special thanks to all of you that watch live and on the replay.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Next week is Ruby Moore, I believe.
Ooh, yes. Excellent.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you next week.